All right, welcome to the channel. Methodical Man here, coming to you guys with another backtest video. We're going to be doing the backtest only for one day here, and we're going to be looking at Monday of this past week on the 15-second chart. I did not trade the 15-second chart this week at all, and so I want to go back and see what Monday would have looked like had we taken every entry on the 15-second chart that wasn't in the same zone. So if we take one winner in the zone, we're not going to take another winner or another trade in the same zone. And the reason for the back test, number one, I want to see how it compared to the 30-second chart. 30-second chart lost money last week, and I want to see if the 15-second would have made money, number one. Number two, I wanted to see how that 6-tick strategy might work on the 15-second chart. And number three, we know that the 15-second chart should offer about somewhere between 25 and 30 entries a day. So let's kind of take a look here and see what we would have got. And if you're unfamiliar with what we're looking for, basically we're looking for a high, a low, and then a rebreak of the high. And we would fib the manipulation leg for a continuation to the upside if we were looking for a long. And then the other direction, just the opposite, a low, a high, and a rebreak of the low. So let's just start off here 9:30 and see what we got. So we got a high and a low. So basically you can tell when there's a potential setup when a low is broken. If we're moving up, as soon as you see a low is broken, then it's a potential setup there. So you can see we got a high here, a low here. So then if we moved back above this high, that would be a long. We did not. We continued lower. So now you can look at these larger zones if you wanted to. So now we have a high, a low. And if we moved back above the high, then that would be a setup there. So let's see if price ever actually came back. So it did here. It came back. We would take these off of the 30% line, I believe. This did come all the way back to the 50 though, and then bounce. So let's see what we got off the 30 here. And we would be looking for 5 handles. So this indeed would be a winner. So we would have a 5 handle. Actually, let's make sure this would be a winner. Yeah, I don't know. See, this is one of those ones where this is what we need to be looking at. So this would have been actually a loss if we had a 5 handle stop there. So let's see. Let's make sure we get this correct. I'm going to mark out that winner. So that should be a loser if we had a 5 handle stop. Now let's look in here and see if there was any other setups here that maybe we missed. High, low, high, low. High, low. So a low, a high. We broke back below the low. No, actually that's not a low. High, a low, and if we break above the high. So this one could be one. We broke above the high, comes back. We would have been tagged out on this one no matter what. So that also would have been a loser there. So let's start this look of this move down here. So now you have a low, you have a high. We broke the high, so if we break back below the low, then that's a short. So as soon as we broke the low, never came back in and tagged us in here. So it just continued on down. These setups get easier to see after you've done it for a minute. When you first start doing this, it's kind of harder to see the setups there, but once you've done it for a minute here, you just kind of get used to looking for them. It's easier to see. Let's see here. So we have a high here, we have a low. So as soon as we move back above that high, so we have a small swing low here. Then we would fib this. We got tagged in right there. Yep, that would have been a winner. So that's one winner. And like I said, I'm looking at this as well for like the 6-tick as well to see how that would work with like a 5-handle stop loss. I know most of the time there's no stop loss on the 6-tick. I don't really like doing it that way. I prefer to have, have a stop loss there. You know, that way it's kind of fixed there. So here we have a low, but we don't have a high. It's an equal high there. Didn't quite sweep that. I'm having to squint a little bit so I can see these charts. I need to probably make it a little bigger. Let's do that. Make it easier to see. So a low, a high. We did not sweep the low again, so now it's a high and a low. And so then we made the low. So this, if we move back above the high, there, that would be your manipulation leg, that big area there. Price comes back, taps you in here. Okay. So only 3 handles, so that would have been a winner. And we will take a look here and see if there's any other setups up here. I don't believe there is. Low, nope, 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 nope. So no other setups that I see here. So this one had a low, a high, and then a lower low. So technically this would have been a short setup here as well. So once it broke the low here, it pushed back up. Tag you in here. Push down 2.25, and then does it go 5 handles here? It goes 3 there. Just trying to see if we would have been stopped out. Not there. 3.75. So it never really gave you the 5 handles there. Yeah, so that one would not have worked. Now, it would have worked with a 6-tick, obviously, with a 5-handle stop. And that's the things that I'm trying to look at there is, would it work with the 6-tick with a 5-handle stop? Then at 1 o'clock, we got this nice move up. So you see a low was broken here. So it's a potential setup if it moves back above the high. So high, low. If it moves above the high, then that's a setup. We actually could use that low. So do we get tagged in here? Yes, we do. Tagged in here. Does it give us our 5 handles? It does. So that's another winner. So 4 winners and 2 losers so far. We wouldn't take another entry into this zone. We want it to move out of that area. So I would consider this kind of moving out of the area. So we got a low, a high. If we move back below the low, that'd be a short, but we do not. We trend back into that same kind of chop zone. And now we have a high and a low. So let's kind of zoom in on this here. I mean, this is not really the kind of action you want to see. A little bit sideways, but let's see what would have happened. So we moved back above this high. That's a long. So here we move above the high. Do we ever get tagged in? We do not. Price just keeps moving on. Still doesn't come back there. We have a high. We have a low. I feel like I say that too much. We have a high. We have a low, but it's all a part of what we're looking for here, I guess. Low, high. So this would have been one going into the end of the day here. You have a low, you have a high, and then we finally move back below that low. So kind of a larger zone here, but I don't think it ever came back and got us in anyway. So that goes into the end of the day there, and no other setups. So let's check it out. So on the 15-second chart, we actually didn't have that many setups when you take out those chop zones, surprisingly. When you're using the chop zone, you're getting like 25 to 30 setups. I'm thinking like if you take one trade in a zone, you don't take any more trades. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So there we had 6 setups, 4 winners, 2 losers. So at 5 handles per winner, that's just 20 handles. That's just 20 handles, and then we had 2 losers, so that's, is that right? 5, 10, 15, 20. Yep, so that would only been 10 handles in winning, 10 handles in winners, which would have been $200 on the 15-second with 1 contract. Probably would size up if we were only taking this number of trades. So $200 still not a bad day. 4 out of 6 is, I don't even know what that is. What is 4 out of 6? I feel bad that I can't think of what that is right now. It's like 85, isn't it? 4 divided by 6, 67%. So this runs at about 70% anyway, traditionally. Now let's think about the other one, the 6-tick strategy. If we went with the 6-tick strategy with a 5-handle stop loss, we would have had 6 winners, and we would use 2 contracts on that. So it'd be $50 per winner, and that would be $300. So if we just did the 6-tick strategy with a 5-handle stop loss, we would have made $300 using 2 contracts and 100% win rate. So that's kind of something I'm looking into. You guys can kind of backtest that a little bit yourself if you want to. Just taking the 6 ticks with 2 contracts, 5-handle stop loss. Problem with it is, obviously, if you take a loss, it's going to set you back a decent amount. But most of the time, you're getting an immediate reaction to the areas, right? So as soon as it kind of touches the zone, you're not really taking that much of drawdown, which this one would not have tagged us in anyway. Yeah, because that's when the trade would have been valid. But if we go back and look, just like here, that one we didn't get tagged in. Let's look at the ones we did get tagged in at. So we're taking it off the 30. Right? So as soon as price comes back and touches it off the 30, would be right here. What would we have taken? 66.50. You would have took 1 handle of drawdown before it would have gave you 6 ticks. 1.5. So that's what I'm looking at. Like, is it better to take 6 ticks or take 5 handles? Maybe it's better to take 5 handles, a 1-to-1 in the long run. I think that might make more sense. But I don't think the 6 ticks is awful. So here, you would have got tagged in here, took a 1.5 of drawdown, and it pushed back up. I don't know if it would have gave us 6 ticks there, right? It would have been close. No, wait, that's a short. I'm looking at that wrong. Looking at it wrong. So right here is where you would have got tagged in at. Yeah, 2.5 handles of drawdown, and then it would have gave you the profit there. And then here's the other side. So it would have been tagged in here. That one you would have got 3 handles of drawdown. So you guys can see what I mean there. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. We do have all the links down below. Topstep, Bulenox, APEX. 90% off APEX and Bulenox through Tuesday at midnight. 60% off through Topstep there. If you are using Topstep currently, please use my link to sign up for any new accounts you get. It does help the channel. We also have the link to the Discord down below. We do trade these strategies live 5 days a week if you're interested in dropping in and watching them. 3 o'clock a.m. Eastern time for the London session, 9:15 a.m. Eastern for the New York. Appreciate you guys watching the video, and we'll see you guys then.